Have you ever wondered what your hands, heart, and intuition might reveal about your life? Welcome to Live Soul Readings, Hands, Hearts, and Higher Guidance with Cynthia Clark and Megan Brown. Each week, we explore meaningful themes, answer heartfelt questions, and offer live soul readings, intuitive messages, and higher guidance to bring greater clarity to your relationships, purpose, healing, and next steps. Want a chance to be featured live? Submit your hand photos and questions in advance. And join us every Saturday at 10 a.m. Arizona time. Because sometimes the guidance you've been seeking has been waiting for you all along.
Hello, spiritual friends, and welcome to today's show. I'm Cynthia Clark, and I'm here with Megan Brown. And today we are going to be talking about light workers. So maybe you have heard this term, light workers. It seems like pretty much everyone in the spiritual community has probably heard this term. But we're going to kind of dive into it a little bit deeper and really break it down. And how can we redefine it in a way that's going to make sense for us so that we can move forward in our lives? So, Megan,
Hi.
how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing good. It's been a little challenging with the weather. We had a huge rainstorm the other day, and it's flooding issues now going on. But it's all good,
Yeah.
We just deal with it.
Yeah. It
So,
sounds beautiful though. The rain.
Yeah, we needed it. I mean, after that enormous fire that we had here in Sedona.
Yeah.
And luckily the smoke is gone and everything looks like it's pretty much under control. So, but it is making it kind of muggy and humid.
Yes, it is. I felt that this morning.
Yeah. I just start like sweating. It's pretty crazy. But because I'm used to it being so dry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am too. And it was nice and refreshing to feel that.
I know it is. And it smells good too. It smells good outside. So yeah. So what do you think about the term light workers?
Okay. So I don't use the term myself. I mean, I should take that back. Occasionally I will use it, but very rarely. Because I remember when I was an atheist and I heard the term light worker, and it always made me just kind of check out. I couldn't attach to, oh, somebody's going to throw some sort of woo-woo stuff at me. And
Were you about to say crap?
I was trying to not use my language. I was trying to edit myself in that moment. But yes, the woo-woo crap. And I got tired of being, told what something is and told what I was missing and this whole thing. So I don't know when the term started, and truly who comes into my mind when I think about it is Shirley MacLaine. In the 80s, she did that book, Something on the Edge. Was it On the Edge? It was huge. It was huge.
I don't remember the name of the book, but yeah, I definitely remember Shirley MacLaine.
Yeah. And she was kind of like this pioneer for the spiritual talk at a time that it didn't even really exist on any social platform that I knew of anyway back then, but other than religion. But now when I think back about what she did, I think, oh, wow, that is so brave. And that is so exactly what we all need to do, and not align it with a quote unquote woo-woo way of thinking. Instead, it feels more about acceptance. To be a light worker to me now means I am going to show up for another and be unconditional. So I know that I have been, I've had my judgment battles in life. I will just say it like that because I know everybody has, but I know that I've been judgmental in my life. And that is something in my near-death experience. It was like, oh, yeah, that's not okay. Not to say I haven't, done it since, but nothing. And I think, there are times when we have to judge something, but you got to know when it's not necessary. You know what I mean? And so to me, that's a part of being a light worker, is just to recognize that people are going to just be themselves and work with people and have no expectations of them to be anything different than they are. And I don't know, I guess there's more to it, but what do you think?
Well, I think, the term itself, I don't think there's really anything wrong with it. If you think of what is a light worker, it's somebody working the light, right? Which means essentially that we're being compassionate and loving and helping the planet, like all of that stuff, I think is great. I think where we
and if you can hear me, you froze. And that's a Sedona thing, in case anybody is listening. It happens.
Am I back?
And I have to agree with Cynthia. Oh, there she is again. Okay, I was explaining that a Sedona thing is we glitch and this weather.
Oh, yeah. You did, but what's funny is you didn't glitch on my end.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so that's interesting. But anyway, so I think there's really nothing wrong with the term per se, but I think where we come into problems is sometimes we wear it like a badge of honor, or we think of ourselves as superior to others. So just to give an example on this, and I'm certainly not going to name names on who this person is, but there used to be this person that I knew, and she suddenly became, in her mind, enlightened, right? So she was really excited about it, and she was, working with a mentor who was helping her, and, all these things are really good, right? I'm certainly not knocking any of this. But where it became a problem is she shoved it down everyone's throat who was around her and who was not ready to hear it. So she would literally talk like this: I'm raising my vibration and you're not, and you need to figure it out. And she was so judgmental, and she essentially pissed off everyone around her. And I was like, it sort of became like, you need to stop talking about this.
What you just explained is exactly why light worker rubbed me the wrong way as an atheist, because I would hear things like that too.
Yeah. And ultimately it's like, okay, everybody's on their own journey. Yeah. Everybody is actually light. And how we express that light is different. And everyone is actually designed to express their light differently. So who are we to judge one person's expression over another, as long as it's not hurting anyone, right? But anyway, she just lost so many friends over this whole thing because she was just judging constantly all day long. I'm doing this. I'm so much better than you. You guys need to figure this out. Oh, I can't talk to that person anymore. Their vibration's not high enough for me. It was just like, whoa, like, really get over yourself. It was hilarious.
I was writing in my book yesterday about how people identify and how they have to, it's almost like it's like a pacifier. You have to identify as something to feel like you're acceptable or that you are something, like you mentioned earlier, like you're above somebody else, or you're this or you're that, whatever it means, to an individual. But that's the problem that we come into with this whole light worker thing, and other workers. Okay, I'm not limiting it to light workers, because really we can say religion, they're filled with light workers. Okay,
absolutely.
So, yeah, it's like everybody everybody is here wanting the light and wanting to be a light worker. And those that are not, I shouldn't say everybody, because clearly we've seen some things in our world that people have definitely shown us that that's not their intention at all. But for those of us, a huge majority, I don't believe a huge majority does not want to be a part of the light or represent it. I don't want to believe.
I agree with you. I think that, like I said, the term itself, I don't see the problem with, because if you're looking at it from the perspective of, how can I express my light?
Mm-hmm.
How can I hold more light in my vibratory set point? My guides often talk about that. That's really, really a good thing to do. It's a worthwhile goal. It's actually part of the Ascension process, right? But we have to do it from a place of neutrality and non-judgment. And we have to let other people find their path in the way that they need to, right? Because sometimes people have to go through the darkness, right? I mean, look at some of the ways that you've grown over the years. It's actually easier to grow from when you get shoved into the darkness, right? Isn't that interesting? Because we live in this dualistic reality, and sometimes we need to be shown this contrast. So just because you are, depending on where you are in your life, you might be in that darkness, but that doesn't mean that you're not a light worker or that you're not seeking the light. So it's good to just look at that, right? So, I mean, Megan, you went through one of the biggest, darkest periods of going through a near-death experience. I can't think of anything that would be more dramatic than that.
Well, it turns out my divorce was, but I'm just saying, and that brought some darkness around. But no, the near-death experience was definitely a dark period of time in my life because I was living in fear. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't believe in anything, I wasn't holding on to a faith of any kind. I just knew I was going to die, and that's what I was feeling. And then I learned that there is no death. So the darkness, it's interesting. Talking about the darkness is about recognizing our own limiting beliefs. That's the dark. And when we are not open to being accepting, to listening and experiencing other people's views and versions of themselves or what they think, I think that we are putting ourselves in a dark place. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because we don't live in a vacuum, right? We live with other people. There's other humans. We have to deal with all kinds of personalities, right? And this is also where, the hands come in so useful, is that your personality gets shaped from the time you're born to the time you're about 6 years old. You're going to get that hand shape. And that hand shape is your personality archetype. Mm-hmm. And that archetype is going to impact how you show up in the world. So we have people who show up in the world very differently because they have different hand shapes. They have different ways of looking at things. And that's okay, right? We're not all supposed to express things exactly in the same way. So I think one of the best ways as a light worker, like if you truly want to be a light worker and you want to help others, the best thing you can do as a light worker is to show up as your authentic self, know what your personality is reflecting, and reflect it in a way that is really in alignment with what your soul wants for you to experience in this lifetime. And I think that merging of the soul and the personality is so, so important.
Yeah, the personality created by the mind, if you think about it. And the mind, because the mind is being taught, oh, this is the way to do things. This is the way it, this is the right way. This is the wrong way, whatever it is. And our soul is like, okay, we're along for the ride. And we know everything that you're dealing with. And why don't you listen to me? I really feel like the soul is our sixth sense, our gut instinct. That's our soul. That's how it, and yeah, anyway, you just made me think of that.
Yeah, I think of the soul as the higher self, right? So if we think about the three levels of the mind, so the hand shape is going to be more in alignment with the subconscious, the personality, right? That's how it emerges. The conscious mind, that's your everyday thoughts and the things that you do, the things that you're choosing, right? That essentially encompasses your free will, right? Because we live in a free will planet. And then we have the soul, which the higher self is overseeing the whole thing. So when we tap into the light within ourselves, we want to honor this earth journey. So I think this is another thing that light workers think about. And I don't know how you think about it, but you probably want to get back to heaven. Like, oh yeah, I want to go back to heaven. That's like so amazing and so beautiful.
Yeah.
But, we have to also honor our path on earth, and we're here for a reason, right? So we need to know what that reason is, and we need to live that.
Well, I'll tell you what God told me back in the NDE. He informed me that it's reincarnation and it's karma. And some people I've seen in some of the posts that I've done, they react to karma, and that, as if this is, a punishment of some sort, like it's a bad thing. And in fact, it's not. I don't look at karma as being a bad thing at all. I look at karma now as the reason that we're reincarnated, and it's actually karma with ourselves, not just another person. So what we have done is we have set up our energy patterns from a previous life. We messed up the system in the circuitry of the universe. That's what it comes down to. And we messed it up in such a way where we have to come back and fix it. And so the only individual soul who can come back and fix it is the one who put it out of alignment to begin with. And the only way to get it back into alignment is energetically, is to literally love, and unconditional love. Acceptance is synonymous with love. That's what God kept saying to me. And well, he said it the first time, but he said it again, and then others said it. And it's so true, so that's why we're here, according to my NDE, is to just correct what we've put out of alignment with our universal network system. Because if we want to just take that, out of a woo-woo context, it's like, all right, you have a computer and it's got a network system. And if it's off, you got to get it fixed. And so we're all computer networker employees here on Earth in our lives, fixing the system. And, some are slower than others.
Yeah, that's true. Some are slower than others for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I like the way you worded that. Yeah, that makes sense. So, and yeah, we do create that karma, right? Every single day in everything that we're doing. So we do need to get back to the love, back to the light, right? That's the light worker. And what does that mean for you? So in a practical sense, let's take a look at that. Let's say you've got your everyday problems. Maybe you're in a job you don't like. Maybe you have people around you that you're not very friendly with, or, you get in arguments with your mother or whatever, right? So you can always look at that, and you can just, first of all, just ask yourself the question of, why did I create this in my life? Right? Because you create everything in your life. And so if something is showing up that you don't like, you need to figure out the reason why. Why is it there? Because otherwise it wouldn't be there, right? So, and remember, you chose your mother. We've talked about this before too. Like you chose your mother. You chose what family you were going to be born into. We choose from that soul perspective. We choose a lot of things before we come in. We choose the kinds of problems we're going to balance and harmonize from previous lifetimes and all sorts of stuff. So, whatever it is showing up in your life that you don't like, just ask yourself, why is this here? Why is this showing up? What am I here to learn from this experience? And how can I bring more light to it? Right? So that you can think of that as part of your light worker job. And as you bring more light to whatever that stress or challenge is, you can start to then transform it, because you can't change what you don't know. And so if you remain unconscious about it and you just think you're a victim and you just let life bowl you over, that's not really embracing the light. That's not really empowering yourself. So this is really, I think, something that everyone can make progress in, as if they want to change their lives. Is you have to be responsible for what's showing up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, a couple of things that you're saying, I'm just like, oh, yeah, I've been thinking about this, a lot, because I'm writing about it in this book that I'm working on. And one of the interesting things about my mother, getting to the mother topic, I finally get that, okay, no, we didn't get along, but she has since, literally in the past, 2 weeks, has been texting me. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, so the end of days, it's got to be at the forefront of her mind, And so what am I doing about this? How am I showing up in this moment? Am I going to show up with resentment, like you were not there for me, you were this, you were that? No, I get that I am supposed to show up in the unconditional manner and say, oh, thank you for thinking of me, or thank you for your prayers, or thank you for whatever it is she was saying. So it's like how I'm responding. And I believe that all of us, I'm just using this as the example, all of us have the opportunity to respond to our life situations, and seeing that our mother is, according to Yogananda himself, as I've shared, is our first karma. Well, that makes sense. Okay. And we are, or father, and we are connected and learning and becoming patterned through them and with the ways in which they do things. And what we as the parent need to always always influence our children to be the light of who they are. In other words, as a parent, we're not just to tell them, this is the way it goes, this is it, nope, you can't do this. And there are times that you do have to step in and say, no, that's not acceptable behavior. But then there's this balance, because the parent is actually learning from the child, and the child is just open, free light. They are the actual light of their soul. And I think it's so incredibly beautiful. But we can be this light for our friends as well, and for those that we love, and we can be this light for the world. We can be this incredible energy, which is our soul. And in what I'm teaching in my book, and you and I, and the ways to God, I talked about this. love breaks down to the light. The L is for light, for the soul. The O is for organic. The V is for voice. And the E is for echo. So we are each organic to one another. There's no one else like us. And then our voice starts at the moment of our thought's inception. So whether we say it out loud or not, our voice is being used. So we are actually a participant in what is being echoed, not only in our body, but in the energy fields of this universe, the network system. Because we're all this incredible composition of perfection that has been contorted and, put into some compartment by what we were raised with, right? And raised with knowing this is the way and this whole thing. But really what's happening is that the light is somebody else. I look at it this way, like somebody else is trying to dim our light and tell us, no, that's not okay. Look, if you're not out there actively trying to harm anybody, okay, that would be wrong. Okay, we don't want to live in that. But if you just want to show up as yourself and, wear 2 different color shoes and whatever, go for it, just accept the light of how that person is feeling. It's so important. And I think we as a humanity, we tend to look over that. I think there's also a lot of voices that are trying to align with that as well. But I don't know what the statistics are. I just wish that it was dominating our social media and, our cultures.
Yeah, I agree. I think responding and responses is extremely important. It's one of the 4 things that you're in charge of. This is something I talk about all the time is you're in charge of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and your responses. And the responses is the one that most people forget about. So yeah, if you're just reacting to everything around you, you're not really taking ownership or charge of your life. And yeah, so we have to learn to respond in a more positive way, right? So that's how we can claim our light, right? Mm-hmm. And we can really empower ourselves when we respond in a different way. And I think that also neutralizes karma, right? Because if we just keep reacting, we're just going to keep repeating the same cycle over and over again until we figure it out. So the sooner you figure it out, the sooner you respond differently, the sooner you'll be able to harmonize that karma. You'll be able to come back into your own center, your own light, your own authenticity, and move forward. And sometimes that does mean ending a relationship or ending a job that you hate or doing, it's not always easy. In fact, most of the time it's not easy, right? Letting go of something that was important to you or someone who was important to you. And these things evolve over time, right? And sometimes people are only meant to be in your life for a short period of time. They're not necessarily meant to be in your space for your whole life, right? So these are all just things to contemplate when you think about how are you showing up in your light. So I love your love acronym too. That's awesome.
For me,
yeah,
love and all that acronym. Everyone is the acronym of love. And, the light is connected to everything that you were just talking about. I mean, that is it. That's the energy source. That's the power, power adapter, if you will. It's the adapter to the universe. If you don't have that light, then you've got nothing to offer. If you don't, and there's no energy where there's no light.
Mm-hmm.
It goes in a decibel that's below what the higher vibrations are, right? And there's these lower vibrations, and it's all about working with energy too. I mean, literally how you show up and how you respond, it's an opportunity for you to recognize, oh, this is my power. I get to use my light in this way, and this is how I am going to teach, in terms of my action in this regard, whatever this is that you're dealing with.
Yeah, beautifully said. So, yeah, this I think leads to the topic of, again, going back to the term light worker, is sometimes people think that it's just you have to be a healer. It's like, oh, if I'm a light worker, I'm a healer. And that's really not what it is, right? Because you can be a mother, you can be a friend, you can be a business owner, you can have all these different hats, and all of them actually can encompass light worker.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're all healers, because even the business owner, you don't know what they're doing to help others heal. Like they're employing people, or they're making others happy, or there's a whole bunch of stuff that can go into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So really we all can be light workers. We're all light workers. Sure. Essentially is the bottom line. Yeah. And we need to just let go of the judgments around it, the stigma around the term, remembering that we're all together. We're all in this boat together on Earth, and we're all trying to navigate the best we can. So it's important to choose how you show up. And so sometimes that can be difficult, especially if you're in a difficult situation or circumstance, and it takes time. This is the other thing that I think a lot of light workers maybe, I don't know if they all think this, but it just kind of reminds me of that lady who was super judgmental. She thought she had it all figured out, and suddenly she was enlightened, and gosh, everybody else should just catch up with me, but really it's usually a progression. Like we're not all going to be struck down by lightning and suddenly become enlightened, if you know what I mean. Like usually it's a progression. Unless you're Megan and you have your near-death experience.
Oh my gosh. But I can actually think of two people I've met in my life that were struck by lightning and lived. Yeah. So that's funny. They lived, and they do have yeah. Which, by the way, I don't recommend that you go out and wish to be struck by lightning, because that's probably not the best way to do it. No. You could definitely not be high enough voltage and get blown out.
Yeah. So it's a progression, right? And it's interesting. I had a dream the other day about this.
Really?
And yeah, I know. I have some interesting dreams, but
you do.
The dream that I had was a staircase, and the staircase went up and then it went right back down. And it reminded me actually of the step pyramid in Egypt. It just looked exactly like that. And to me, the step is like, okay, we go up, like we think, oh, I'm all high and mighty. I'm collecting my light, and I'm so much better than everyone. But it's just like climbing a mountain, right? Climbing a staircase. We're going up to get a perspective, right? So we seek the light, we search for that light, and we search for what else is possible within ourselves. So we go up the staircase, but then we also come back down the staircase. And to me, that's the integration period, right? So you have to not only gain that perspective, but how do you live that perspective, right? So a truly enlightened person is going to be loving, compassionate, gentle, forgiving, all of those things that we strive to be. They're going to embody that. So I think another good, and this is why it usually takes a period of time to integrate, right? You have to try on that new perspective. You have to look at the world. Oh yeah, I'm going to look at it in this way. Or if I want to be this person, like let's say you want to be the best version of yourself, well, what does that look like for you? And to be really authentic in that. And then you have to try that on. You have to gain that perspective. You have to gain the wisdom. You have to learn the lessons. You have to burn off that karma. And then you have to bring it back in and you have to embody it. So I think that is really, in a nutshell, the path of the light worker.
And, we're all working on loving ourselves, and that's the work. I mean, so it's about love. I can't stop talking about this. It's if we do not, the karma is a part of not loving, and it's not loving yourself, and it's not loving another person or people or whatever, cultures, however it is. But it definitely comes down to not loving yourself, because look at what we're all faced with every day. And every one of us has a different perspective, like from whatever mountaintop we're on. And I also got this visual when you were talking about the pyramid, about taking the steps. And then like I was visualizing somebody standing at the top of the pyramid. And the only way to do that would be to have that balance, that flexibility where you can balance like yourself and be willing to move and, adjust, right, in times.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important for what it is the world as a collective has to do, is adjust, not to the negative, but adjust to acceptance. Acceptance is synonymous with love. And what does that mean for someone? And I'm not talking about anything negative or dark or things like that. I don't align with that. But for those who are, I'll use religion because I'm big into that since my NDE. Look, one religion is going to say this, and I grew up Catholic. And then there's the other religion, they're going to say this, and then there's another one that's going to say something else. And you know what? They're all saying the same thing. When you think about it, they're all saying the same thing. There's God, and there's a way to serve God, and there's these rules that we adhere to in order to prove that we are serving God the best way that we can. Now, do I align with all of them? No, I don't know all of them. I can't align with them, but I guess they're all irrelevant, because the only rule should ever be acceptance. And acceptance means to just love unconditionally, despite where another lives, despite how another looks, and despite, what anybody's quote unquote limitations are. And I use that term loosely because we're all limited. We're all limited because we don't know everything. And so the limitation is really about recognizing in ourself where we're at. So I've been thinking about this lately, how people's perspectives that around the judgment, right? So they want to dim something else. They want to dim the light of a certain area or a certain someone or whatever. And in order to do that, they do the judgment so that they feel safer and they feel like you mentioned earlier, they're better than, and they've got it together, like that one woman. And she's probably fresh into the whole,
Oh yeah, totally.
It's all for her, like, I got it all figured out. And then the universe says, yeah.
Oh, yeah. She had a very rude awakening, actually, because she really wanted to work with that mentor that she was working with. And the mentor turned her down. And she was completely crushed. and I felt, bad for her, but I also didn't really know how to tell her, like, well, you're alienating everybody around you. You need to stop doing that. Because it's like sometimes we don't realize, because we're so jazzed up about our own belief system, that we think everybody should think the way we do. And that's just not how it is. I mean, I've looked at over 8,000 pairs of hands. I mean, people think differently. Every single set of hands is different. And yet we're all, in a lot of ways, the same. So it's interesting to see that contrast of, and that's one thing I love about hands, is to see that, like, how does this person go through life? Wow, that must be rough,
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, everyone who's watching the show, we do answer questions live on the show. And if you want to get your hands read, you do need to scan that QR code that you see on the screen in order to submit your hands so that you can be considered for a reading on the show. And we also just welcome your questions to go into the chat. So I was thinking what would be fun, since we didn't have any questions yet, I would draw a card from my palmistry tarot deck. This is actually a deck that I created, ties in with the hands. And then we'll just see what the message is for whoever is out there watching, because maybe you don't have a question or you don't know what to ask. And I can certainly understand that. Sometimes we like to just be the observer, I'm certainly like that sometimes. It's like, oh, I don't have a question, but I'm listening and paying attention. So, all right. So we're going to talk about a part of the hands, whatever comes up. Okay. And the card coming up is the inverted 10 of fire. Okay. So this is actually interesting. It's the stress line card. Okay. So we have this poor guy who is carrying a giant log, and he's really carrying this heavy burden, and he's holding on to this tremendous amount of weight, right? So what is the weight that is on your shoulders? What is the weight that you are carrying? And when we invert this card, by the way, it's about what can you let go of, right? So stress lines, by the way, show up in the hand. They're in just next to the thumb, okay? And they're going to be horizontal lines that go across the thumb. Okay, so if you have a bunch of those lines in your hand, that's showing that you have a lot of stress and you're holding a lot of stress. And most people have at least a few of these lines. Some are, deeper and thicker than others, but yeah, just take a look at your own hand and check those lines out that come out from the thumb. So really the message that this card is saying is, you can let go of your burdens. You can let go of whatever you think is holding you back. There is nothing holding you back, right? Except your thoughts, feelings, actions, and responses. So you just need to reframe those things, and you can let go of the stress in your life, right? So what stress are you wanting to release or transform, transmute, turn back into the light? Okay, that's really what this card is all about. Okay, so anything to add on to that, Megan?
I think we're all carrying a responsibility. That's what your card made me think of. We're all carrying the responsibility to be the light, literally be the light in our world. And I think that's totally off course for the most part, because the priorities and the things that people are getting away with that I've seen displayed on social media is really disturbing. And yet we all have that responsibility to love this situation to turn it around and to make right and what is out of alignment with love, and not allow actions of others to dim anyone else's light, because their light, by the way, no one's light can ever be dimmed. As a matter of fact, your mind is the only thing that can dim your light, but yet your light doesn't have to go anywhere, and no one else can do it. It's totally on you. So we have a responsibility. And I just found it interesting that, on the card, he was carrying what he was carrying. And I think we are all carrying a lot. And I think that we are all trying to be the light of who we are, and be heard and be accepted and be loved and nurtured and acknowledged, like the big conversation I had with Jesus in heaven. And it was recognizing that, oh my gosh, every experience in my life is a child within me. That's what he informed me of. And I need to, I finally, the light went on for me. I said, I have to acknowledge them. I have to listen to them, nurture them, and love them. And that's what we all need to do, because that's what the light does. So we are all really responsible for loving, listening, acknowledging, and nurturing one another. I really believe that. And that's what that card made me think of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Because it's true. That's what we're here for. We signed up for this earth thing. We signed up to be here. By the way, I wanted to just mention that if you enjoy these kinds of conversations, Megan and I are here every Saturday. And next week, we're actually going to be talking about forgiveness. So if you want your hands read, just scan that QR code and you can be asking your question, and we'll put it on to the next live stream. And also, I've got an event that's happening today and tomorrow, and it's called the Pioneering Higher Consciousness Summit. And you can just go to this link I put in the chat, and I also have it up here, 5dfiles.com. And it's going to be a conversation about, this higher consciousness, and what does it mean, and what does it mean for us? What does it mean for the planet? It's free, by the way, so to go in and have access to the interviews is free, and then each of the different speakers is also giving away a gift. So you can get your free gift as well, and you can just join in. And they're also doing, I believe, a live Q&A panel today and tomorrow as well. So you can be part of the conversation. But just go to 5dfiles.com. And this is a great way to really expand your awareness in light workers, all of these beautiful things. So I'm honored to have been featured as a guest on that summit. So we're gonna wrap up, I think, for today. Anything else you want to mention before we sign off, Megan?
Anything else I want to mention? Yes. Be the light of who you are. Be the love that you already are. Just be yourself. That's what Goddess said to me in heaven. I was standing in front of her and she said, Megan, you're doing the world a disservice and yourself a disservice. Just be yourself. It's okay to be yourself. So she wasn't just saying it to me, as I later learned. She's saying this to everybody. Just be yourself. Love yourself. Shine the light that you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, very well said. Yes, I would second that. And I would really just challenge you to ask yourself, how can you spread more light in your day? How can you be more positive? How can you be more loving? How can you be more compassionate? And look at every situation that you go into with that perspective, like you're climbing that, step pyramid, right? You're gaining that new perspective. And how does that feel to you, right? So, but yeah, we appreciate each and every one of you. We're here to be the light for you and hopefully brighten your day. And like I said, next week we're going to be talking about forgiveness, which is a really important topic, I think. And until next time, let's all ascend together. Have a beautiful day. Yeah, have a beautiful day, everyone.